Good morning, everyone. I'm Pastor Troy.
I'm Pastor Ben.
And this is EastLake Live.
Yes.
Since March the 23rd, EastLake Live was formed during this COVID-19 crisis to bring you information and inspiration during this difficult time. And here's the good news today. Things are opening up.
Yes.
The rain has stopped.
Finally.
The lake will start receding. Your dock will reappear sometime later today. And we are getting through this by the grace of God. Church is open. Man, there was a time when the only thing happening on planet Earth was EastLake Live at 10 a.m. Now lots of stuff is happening each and every day. And we're excited to be with you today, Friday, May the 22nd, 2020, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. You know, this opening up thing is actually a little bit deceptive. Because, it was a big deal last week because the mall, Valley View Mall, was opening up.
Yes.
So my family and I went there on Monday, and we were just excited to go to the mall.
Yeah, there was like one vitamin store open.
Pretty much. Pretty much. A couple shoe stores, and not a whole lot going on there.
So is Belk open?
No, none of the big stores were open.
So are they going to open?
I think so at some point. TJ Maxx, I think, is waiting until next week, next Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
So I don't know if everybody else is following that or not. But anyway.
Wow.
But things are starting to come
Things
back.
are starting to open up. It's church open last weekend. How was that?
That was awesome.
4 services Saturday night and Sunday morning.
Yep.
It was great to be back. Great to see everyone. This weekend we're doing it again. We decided to have church again this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So Saturday night at 6.
Yeah.
Sunday morning at 8, 10, and Sunday afternoon at noon.
Yes.
Is noon afternoon?
It would be.
No, it's noon, because if you're afternoon, it's not noon, right?
It'd be afternoon at 12 o'clock and 1 second, right?
So 12 o'clock is technically not afternoon. The question today is noon afternoon? The winner gets
That's a trivia question.
a new watch. No. All right. Well, hey, I want you to share this video. Tell your friends and neighbors that EastLake Live is on. We have some big news next week, but we have also a really, really exciting show today.
Yeah.
What a blessing that we're going to have. This is Memorial Day weekend. Every year, this weekend in May, Americans celebrate, and celebrate's not a great word, but we celebrate with humility the lives of those who have been sacrificed for our freedom. And if we ever needed to remember our freedom, it's in these days that we live now. And we have a very special guest coming up. We're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes.
In light of Memorial Day, we do have a giveaway this morning, and we've got a $50 gift card to Kroger.
What?
There's a bird that just ran into the window, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's dead on the.
He was not a Doolittle Raider.
He was not a. Anyway, $50 gift card to Kroger, $25 gift card to the coffee shop, and an EastLake hat, which I'm wearing one.
You're wearing the Memorial Day edition.
I'm wearing Memorial Day edition. This is the Veterans Day edition, and but anyway, we want to give away these things to a veteran. Somebody that you nominate, and really all you need to do is share, just like every other giveaway that we've done. And we just want to know who you nominate, where they served, what branch of the military they served in, if they were in a conflict, what conflict they were in, and stuff like that. We just want to know that and nominate that person.
You nominate a veteran, and our team will pick the winner today of the Memorial Day giveaway. It's a $50 gift card to Kroger. That's no small deal.
No.
$25 to the coffee shop. That's a big deal.
So toilet paper and croissants. Everything you ever wanted.
And a red,
during
white,
this
and
whole
blue
thing.
hat.
Yes.
And a red, white, and blue hat. There. What could you possibly want more than that? But anyway, so share the video. Nominate your veteran for the giveaway today, and we'll give that away later in the show. The coffee shop at EastLake is open this morning.
Right now.
Right now, there's people down there. I hear clunking and clanging. There's people right now ordering and buying great coffee. I'm drinking coffee from there this morning, and croissants, cookies. I had cookies. I'd never had a cookie from there.
The cookies are pretty good.
Yesterday, I had a cookie from there. So share this with your friends and neighbors, nominate your veteran, and we're going to come back. Tell us about what's on the show today, Ben.
Yeah. So it's Memorial Day edition, and we have a special guest, Rich Cole, Lieutenant Colonel retired from the Air Force, and the son of Colonel Dick Cole, who was part of the Doolittle Raiders in World War II. And we're going to be talking about that story a little bit, and Rich's experience growing up. It's going to be a lot of really cool info.
You know what just dawned on me? We've had the former head of the CDC, Grammy-nominated artist, a guy that after he was on our show went on Good Morning America. We've had some pretty distinguished guests.
Yes, we have.
Today we have maybe the most distinguished guest, the son, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, the son of Colonel Dick Cole of the Doolittle Raiders. And you know who still hasn't come on our show?
I was just thinking about him, actually.
We can't get the Kroger manager.
What is in the world?
We got the Doolittle Raiders, we got the CDC, we got Grammy-nominated artists, we got news legends all around the country, but...
What are you hiding?
But anyways, I'll tell you what they're hiding. They're hiding the toilet paper, because I've been in there for like 9 straight weeks, there's none. But anyways, we don't want to go back to that. So anyways, we are excited about this today to talk to Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, and what an honor to have him and his wife Karen, their son Aaron, as a part of the EastLake family. Their other son Rich has been a part of the family as well until he moved away. But anyways, we're going to come back to that. Watch this brief ad from your Smith Mountain Lake Coffee House, and we'll be right back with Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cole.
We're back, and this is Memorial Day weekend, and obviously a great time of celebration for a lot of families getting together. It's the start of summer and all that stuff. But more than that, we are remembering those who gave their lives in service to our country. And I was doing a little history research on Memorial Day, and I'm sure many of you know what this is all about, but it actually began as Decoration Day shortly after the Civil War in the 1860s. And actually, I believe it was first organized by a group of freed slaves in Charleston, South Carolina.
Wow.
And it's attributed then to a town called Waterloo, New York, that in 1866 actually celebrated Decoration Day and put decorations on graves of soldiers of the Civil War. In 1971, it officially became Memorial Day and became a national holiday. And we just are thankful for every single man and woman who gave their life sacrificially and freely for the sake of our freedom. And we just want to remember them this weekend. And say thank you to those who are serving and have served as well.
We do not take for granted our freedom, and we know we only have it because Americans throughout the history of this great nation have seen it as worthy of giving their entire life. And so we're going to be back with Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole right after this brief Memorial Day video.
Extraordinary men and women went before us with unmatched resilience, enduring hardship when called upon to defend and liberate. They said yes. They found courage to rise with every sun, loyalty toward their country, discipline for every command. Even in the darkest hours, they said yes. They cherished and fought for freedom, so those coming behind them were assured of it. And when the moment came for them to give it all, their futures never to be written, they said yes. Today we think upon their sacrifice and find our way to honor them, saying yes to making the most of what they gave us and filling the earth with God's goodness. We thank them for their yes. They will never be forgotten.
And we are back on EastLake Live, a program that was started March the 23rd during the COVID-19 crisis to just bring information and inspiration to you who were quarantined. Less of you are quarantined today, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's Memorial Day weekend, and we are blessed at EastLake to have a wonderful family in our church, Rich and Karen Cole, and their son Aaron, who, by the way, is my favorite member of the family, in spite of all the fame that exists in this great family. Wow. Aaron is their wonderful son, and I love him dearly. But anyways, Rich and Karen have been a part of EastLake for several years, and Richard Cole, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, is the son of Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cole. And tell us, I mean, you're going to know this, but I want you to tell everyone what was your dad known for, and what was that all about?
Well, he was Jimmy Doolittle's co-pilot on the Tokyo raid.
Wow.
So he was and he was the last surviving raider. He died 9 April last year at 103 and a half.
Wow.
So and he spent the last probably 50 years of his life just going around to air shows, selling prints and signing them to promote the scholarship fund for the Doolittle Foundation. So he became pretty well known because he was all over the place doing that. My sister tells me he's the most signed World War II veteran, the one that has signed his name the most.
Wow. Well, that's really cool.
So just give us a brief general overview of what the Tokyo raid was for people who may not know.
Well, as you may know, and obviously, on the 7th of December, 1941, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. President Roosevelt immediately went to his Joint Chiefs and said, I want to figure out a way to bomb Japan in retaliation. And a Navy captain was just flying into Norfolk Field, and he saw a medium bomber taking off and landing from the field, and he came up with the idea of, why don't we take bombers off of a carrier? Never been done before.
Wow.
And that was the genesis of the idea to put these bombers on a carrier and take them as close to Japan as they could get them and take them off and bomb Japan. They knew that the damage was not going to be significant, but the Japanese had been telling their populace nobody could attack Japan. For 2,600 years, the Japanese had never been invaded.
Huh.
Wow.
And so it was
Don't mess with America.
And so the idea floated up, and Hap Arnold, who was the in charge of the Army Air Corps at the time, reached out and tapped, at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle, who was probably the most famous aviator in the world at that point, just because of he had a PhD from MIT in aeronautics, a master's degree. He was just he did all kinds of neat things beside the raid.
And he was a World War I pilot, is that right?
He was. He never actually got to fight in the war, but
Okay.
he that's where he learned to fly. So there were only 5 people in the country that knew about the plan. They told Jimmy Doolittle to organize it, coordinate it, and execute it, and that's what he did. So he went and he got the volunteers. He just walked into this 34th Squadron and said, I have a dangerous mission. Who wants to go? And they all volunteered. But they didn't tell him until they were 2 days out at sea what the mission was.
So during the whole time of training that your dad was being trained and Jimmy Doolittle was coordinating all this, they didn't really know what this plan was.
Wow.
I had no idea.
How old was your dad at this time?
He was one of the older guys on the raid. He was 27.
Okay, wow.
27. Wow. That's really cool. And I read in your dad's book, Dick Cole's War, he was called the Hump Pilot. I guess he went on to do a lot of, is that right?
He flew the hump after the raid. Most of the raiders were taken either back to the States or went to Europe to fight in Europe. 26 of them remained in Burma.
Okay.
And they flew the hump, which was, well, it was amazing. They lost 600 aircraft and over 1,200 pilots, crew, because of the
Danger of
danger of
it was
flying.
the updraft and all that. Yeah.
Well, the planes they were using, they couldn't get over the mountains. They had to go through them, and so it was a very dangerous. And
Man.
So let's talk a little bit about so Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole is with us today. His dad was Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cole, co-pilot for Jimmy Doolittle in the Doolittle raid on Tokyo, our first attack back at Japan after Pearl Harbor. So tell us a little bit about what happened with the raid itself, how they executed that.
the plan for the raid was that they loaded the aircraft on the Hornet, and that task force left San Francisco. They met up with the Enterprise and another task force, and that was pretty much all that was left of the Pacific Fleet.
Wow.
So they were risking everything to do this one mission. And the plan was they were going to go within 450 miles of Japan, launch the aircraft, and everybody's going to turn around and leave. They were going to bomb Japan and fly into China, land at Chinese airfields, and use the aircraft and the crews to continue to attack the Japanese.
By the way, I think we have some pictures of the Hornet and the pilots and various things. Matthew, I think you can throw them up as you want here. But sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. And so the weather was supposed to be good. Unfortunately, at 250 miles before their launch point, they got spotted by a Japanese trawler. Even though they sunk it, they know the trawler got a message off, and so Jimmy Doolittle went down to the crew room and said, we're launching. Anybody that wants to back out can back out.
Wow.
Because they knew that they were not going to make the China coast. They were going to ditch into the water. And
Whoa.
so they were going to either put its hand on our country, especially in World War II. And on specifically on this mission, because the weather was supposed to be very different from what it was. So when they came off the targets in Japan, they headed out to sea. They were supposed to have a 25-knot headwind. They were going to run out of gas about halfway across the ocean, the China Sea.
Wow.
The storm came up, and they ended up having a 25-knot tailwind, which meant they were all going to reach the China coast.
Wow.
That same storm, and mostly the wind blows from west to east
Right.
over the China Sea. When it blows from east to west, they call it a kamikaze wind. And kamikaze actually means divine.
Wow.
And so they all made it to the coast. They all crash landed. Of the 16 airplanes, 80 men, 8 were captured, 3 were executed, 1 died of malnutrition. The other 4 were interred for the war and beaten and tortured for the next 4 years, 34 months of solitary confinement.
Wow.
The remaining raiders, my dad specifically, they bailed out, and they bailed out in the middle of the storm. This in itself was a blessing, because if the weather had been like they predicted, the Japanese would have known where all the aircraft were. They probably would have captured most of the crews.
Wow.
But it was a huge, massive storm that covered eastern China. So out of the 80, 64 of them were able to make it to, with the help of the Chinese guerrillas, make it to safety
Wow.
and get to Chongqing.
Wow.
So I heard that after the raid, Jimmy Doolittle was sure that he was going to be court-martialed. Thought it had been an utter failure because he lost all the planes.
Right.
What What'd your dad think in all that time? Was he kind of feeling the same way, fearful, or did he feel like it was a success? Or
He never mentioned it, but the one of the other crew members was talking to Jimmy Doolittle, and he said, boss, I would fly with you anywhere, and I don't think that this is going to be looked at as a failure. And in fact, it wasn't. He was flown back to the States, promoted to brigadier general, jumped the rank of colonel, and awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor.
wow.
Yeah, that was incredible. What a powerful statement we made when they had destroyed Pearl Harbor. Our Pacific Fleet, basically, they didn't think obviously we could get to them, and American military is a powerful force, and they did. So, want you to see this video that sort of, it's actually Lieutenant Colonel Cole's dad, Dick Cole, Colonel Dick Cole, in this video that talks about Memorial Day. Watch this.
I'm here with Colonel Richard Cole, who was the co-pilot for Commanding Officer James Doolittle and is the last surviving member of the famous Doolittle Raiders, who flew the first daring airstrike over Tokyo following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. It's an honor to be here with you, Colonel.
The United States aircraft carrier Hornet, part of a task force steaming into Japanese waters, is now revealed as the secret base from which American planes first bombed Tokyo.
Do you remember what it was like when you were on the ship and you finally found out what the mission was?
2 days at sea, Admiral Halsey came on the PA system and saying, this force is bound for Tokyo.
But nobody knew what you were actually training for.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. We knew we were going to take off from a carrier. Most of us thought that we were going to be taken to some island that they had selected, and we'll take off and go to it and start fighting the war.
What are your feelings about what happened then? Obviously, we've all heard that it was a big morale booster, just knowing that we could hit back at Japan that quickly.
The raid was designed for 2 reasons. One was to prove to the Japanese that their island could be struck by air, and prove to the Japanese people that their higher-ups were not being truthful. The other reason was a morale builder for the United States and the Allies. We did that, and we were proud of that.
Then journey's end for the great adventure. Fuel gone, 15 of the planes are wrecked as their crews are forced to bail out over China and Japanese-occupied territory.
The first day after the raid, Colonel Doolittle wanted to visit where the airplane had crashed. The Chinese would only take 2 people, so he took a gunner, Paul Leonard. Colonel Doolittle was feeling pretty low because he thought it was a failure. He'd lost all the airplanes. He didn't have any idea where all the people were. Paul told him that, no, sir, that they were going to give you a Congressional Medal of Honor and promote you to a general. And that's what happened.
The Japanese government flatly admits that of 8 uniformed flyers captured, some have been executed. This in flagrant violation of all international law. 64 of the 80 men who took off were rescued, and most of them have returned to duty.
Well, you've been called a hero by many. How does that make you feel?
It's a very misleading word.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that goes with the territory.
Well, Colonel, it's been an honor to sit here with you and to talk to
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you for...
Great video where you get to meet Richard Cole's dad, Colonel Dick Cole, in that brief video. So you grew up in the home of a hero, and how was that?
We never knew it. There were 5 kids. All we knew was every April he and Mom would leave and go to some function someplace, and then they'd come back, and we'd all be there.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to meet Doolittle?
Yes, when I was in F-15s, I met him before that several times, but I got the opportunity to fly into one of the reunions with 2 F-15s and hang out with him.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you obviously went into the Air Force, your dad was obviously in that. So was that a big part of why you went in?
Well, like most young boys, they all want to do what their dad did. So
Yep.
Dad was a pilot, so I wanted to be a pilot.
Wow.
What's funny is I never wanted to do what my dad did, but I'm doing exactly what
Here
he
you are.
Anyway, but you were telling us a story a little bit ago of one of the guys that flew in the raid, and then went on to serve as a missionary. Tell our viewers
Tell the story. You have got to hear this story of how he's mentioned how God is working in all this. Listen to this story. Tell us about that.
Okay, so his name was Sergeant Jake DeShazer. He was on crew number 16. He was a bombardier. And he was one of the 4 guys that was not executed, captured by the Japanese, and spent 34 months in solitary confinement and almost a little more than 4 years in captivity by the Japanese, beaten and tortured on a pretty much daily basis.
Wow.
On a starvation diet. The Japanese gave the 4 of them a Bible to share. And during that time, Jake DeShazer came to Christ. And so when he left and came back to the States, he went to Bible college and returned to Japan and spent the next 30 years in Japan, in the city that he bombed.
Wow. Next 30 years.
The next 30 years.
30,
Ministering
wow.
to the Japanese. He established more than 23 churches in Japan. A neat little vignette is that in 1950, the commander of the attack on Pearl Harbor, his name was Captain Mushida Fuchiya, read a tract that DeShazer had written, and he came to Christ as a result of reading that.
Wow.
He and Jake met each other and ended up being lifelong friends. They preached together at various times, and he would come back to the States. He ministered. The captain would minister in Japan and the U.S. So that's one of the
That
main
is,
stories.
God is at work in
Yeah.
every circumstance.
Yeah.
Well, you have had, obviously you had a heroic father in the world since, and certainly I know you believe that, but you also have done a lot, and we want to thank you for serving our country and for the what you are every day in our world. You and your wife are great Christian business leaders in our world today, and we value that so much. And we're honored to have you as a part of the EastLake family.
Oh, it's an honor to be here.
Aaron remains in first, but we love you guys to death. And I want to thank you for coming on today. What else?
Thanks so much.
Anything else we need to follow up with?
No, I think that's.
So let me
that's-
real quick. Your dad was in the let's end with this. Your dad was in the military pretty much his whole career.
Right after the war, all these guys came back from the war. Millions came back from the war, and most of them were released back into civilian life. Dad was one of those guys. He went back to college in Oregon, and then less than a year later, they called him back into the service, and he stayed in the service for the rest of his career.
Okay. Wow. So he spent his life in the military. There's so many of you that have also served in our great country's military, and so we honor all of you and those who have served and given their all as a sacrifice for our freedom. We owe you a debt of gratitude. My own grandfather died February the 8th, 1945, in Germany at the close of the war. Was shot and killed. My brother Brian served and was injured, and so many of my nieces or my nephews rather have served, and we honor all those of you. Your dad will be buried this year at Arlington National Cemetery.
Yes.
scheduled for April the 16th
Yes.
and
now
postponed it.
Postponed to the 31st of August. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being there and seeing that. And thank you for the invitation. So,
Yeah. Just switching gears just a little bit here. We are back to church, and we got video we want to show you that may represent some of you over the last 2.5 months of being part of the online church community. And which one are you? Check this out.
These are my favorites right here. I got Furtick for the preaching. I got Bethel for worship. I got Judah for his fashion sense. And Riverside for community. It's awesome. It's great. I love it. Honey, the pastor said that the church service is going to be in the computer. I sure do miss the nursery. You ready for church, honey? All right, let's go. What was that? I didn't have got the ESV version, the elect version. You better not be preaching from the message. You don't get much of a message from the message.
Hey son, you're late for church.
Sorry, Mom. In this church, they better be singing Hillsong Young and Fruit. You should see Pastor Terry's tie. Nice tie, Pastor Terry. I wonder if we can request a song. Can we request a worship song? I love the chat. I love it. We're in warfare. We rebuke Satan and the spirit of Jezebel. The Lord is thy banner. I just saw Brad log on. Have you seen his social media lately? And he's in church. Oh, there are the Smiths. I haven't seen them in like 6 months. All of a sudden, church is online. They show up. I sure hope the pastor preaches on repentance.
I now baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Praise the Lord. Oh, praise the Lord.
You okay? Okay. I now baptize you in the name of the Father.
Guys, this is real here. The baptism.
I now baptize you in the name of the
Okay,
Father.
no, you gotta start.
Okay.
And you gotta.
I now baptize you in the name of
The Father, Son, and Holy
I
Spirit.
know how to order. I now baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son.
Come on, Reese, come on. You can do this.
Sorry.
Reese, come on.
we've all been there,
Yes.
haven't we?
Yeah, I think I relate most with the parents.
Yeah.
Of course,
You know what?
I haven't been on that side.
I was going to
too
say,
much,
I haven't even been to internet church. I've been on the other side. Well, I guess I did on a Wednesday night or two. But
Yeah.
I want to just say, before we continue on, if you didn't see the earlier part of this show, you need to go back and watch it.
And share it.
This needs to be watched. Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole was our guest, the son of Colonel Dick Cole of Doolittle Raiders. And you've got to listen to some great stories and how God's hand was at work in that time. So here we are, Ben. It's Friday. Sunday's a coming.
Saturday's coming.
Oh, that's right. We used to have church only on Sunday. Now we've added Saturday.
Yeah, I have to rethink that every week.
So our church, we're still in the limited capacity sign up mode for another week or so. I haven't even looked. I know that Sunday at 10 filled up real quick.
Yep.
Saturday night at 6 was sort of running in second place.
Yep. There are plenty of seats there, though.
There's still quite a few at 6. It's about 75% full.
Yep.
And then 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. still, that's where the most seats are.
Got plenty of room.
Plenty of room in those. Actually, we got plenty of room in every service just because 225 in an 800-seat auditorium is pretty good.
You got room.
But we're trying to keep our social distance. And we're looking for, we had a great time last week. We're loosening the ratchet straps a little bit this weekend. The cafe will be open in between every service.
Yes.
The resource center at EastLake, where you can get the Memorial Day edition of the EastLake hat, will be open.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
I just declared it.
All right. We're going to be
So, yeah, the Resource
for
Center
business.
will be open on
Yeah.
Sunday. We want you to join us. If you're in town visiting,
Yeah.
come on out. And
You know
join.
what? Really, another thing that's happening is if you can't get enough of this show, which I know there are a few of you out there that are like that, we have very few. We have the EastLake Live Sunday edition. That's happening this Sunday as well at 9:30 a.m. On this same channel.
It leads us into the 10 o'clock service.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we live stream the 10 o'clock service.
It's like a half hour of good news with JB.
It's a half hour of Good News with JB.
Yeah.
It's actually a half hour of a virtual foyer with JB being the only greeter. No, actually JB,
Yeah,
Heidi,
Tanner.
and Tanner. So JB,
Yeah.
come on in here. Good News with JB.
Good news with JB.
This is the most delightful part of every show.
Watched by multiplied tens of people.
Multiplied tens of people are watching Good News with JB. So Jonathan,
Yeah.
early on in this program, you were sort of a man, one of few.
Yes.
There weren't many
yes.
good news
the
bearers.
only
not.
bright light.
That's right.
But
Now it's more like a legend.
well, it's a legend. But I want to tell you, you got competition because good news. I can find good news. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing some good news here
That's
and
right.
there.
That's right.
So it's not as hard for you to get good news, but it's harder for you to get better news than other people who have good news.
So are you encouraging me right here?
I'm
or
encouraging you, but I'm also putting confidence that
Yes.
your news will be better
Yes.
than anybody else. Because there's a lot of good news.
There is.
When
There
we started,
is.
honestly, when we started,
Yep.
there was no good news.
Stock
Yes,
market was going
that's
like
right.
this. People
That's
were
right.
getting sick.
Yeah.
You know, stock
Yeah.
market like this, COVID-19 like this.
Yep.
Everything was not good.
Yep.
Now, we're getting NASCAR's back.
Now I watched the race last week. Kevin
NASCAR.
Harvick, number 4, won the race. Yeah.
30.
Is that a good thing?
They
or-
said the ratings were up 34%.
I bet.
I bet nobody
Because
was allowed in the stand.
Everybody's tired of watching. Everybody's tired of watching reruns from the 70s.
Yes,
But anyways,
yeah, and
so what's your
computer
good
shows.
news?
So, there's a typical good news. Y'all talked about the mall being open and the violin store.
By the way,
that was there.
Tanglewood Mall is flooded.
Yes, that's not good news.
Don't go to that one.
Yeah.
It may never recover.
You can get really good deals on used mall furniture right now.
but you can.
I have a really bad joke right now.
Anyways,
That's
all right,
terrible.
let's go.
So, restaurants are opening. That's all. So, what I wanted to do is give you like specific people who are doing good stuff. you know?
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people doing bad stuff. People fighting over masks and all this. Listen to this. Let me tell you what the CDC
Hey,
said.
we're not fighting over masks.
No.
Let me tell you what the CDC said. They released new guidelines indicating that while it's still possible for the virus to be spread by touching contaminated surfaces, it does not spread easily that way, as easily as we thought.
So
to
that
me,
means
that's
we
good
don't.
news.
Yeah, it is because last
know-
week we had to bring the fire department in and hose down the
That's
sanctuary
right.
in between
we were
services.
blasting off the door
We don't have to
handles.
do that. We don't
That's
have to
right.
do that now.
So, Chad Ochocinco.
Oh,
Do you know who I'm talking about, right?
Cincinnati
The old football player, yeah. So recently, he did something really nice. He went to Havana's Cuban Cuisine. That's in Florida. The first day they reopened.
Yep.
All right.
Ocho Cinco is
He-
not 88, by the way.
85.
It's 80, yeah.
It's 85. I was thinking he was.
I don't have
My
that
wheels
much
just
stuff.
been in there for a
Cinco.
while. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not
8.
I left you there. So anyway, he ate $37.40 worth of food. All right.
All right.
But here's the good news.
Let me guess.
He
tipped him $1,000.
Well, yes, folks, you heard it here first.
way.
Congrats to
Good
Troy.
news with PT.
He tacked on $1,000.
I just
to the bottom
literally.
line.
Have I ever heard that story?
No, first time.
I didn't even
Fresh
know his.
out.
I didn't even know his jersey number, and I guessed his tip.
But that's good news. He did.
Chad
So,
Ochocinco.
that's great. All right, so I've done a couple of good news stories on a man named Tom Moore over in Britain. He was the gentleman, he's 100 years old,
Yep.
who walked in his garden for laps for charity and raised
Oh,
like
yes,
$36 million.
Raised 12
or
tomatoes
something.
and
So now
36
he's
million
up to
bucks.
1 billion.
Well, I'm just going to say millions and millions. Here's the good news I
I was
wanted to
trying
share.
to do the Troy thing and guess.
Sorry.
and, take the
You'll-
wind out
You know
from
what?
underneath your sails.
You know what? You'll never sit in this chair on that side. That's why I stand, and that's why
Thank
you
you.
sit on this
I
side.
have a hashtag called it. I just call. I can tell when a guy's
That's
gonna throw a
right.
bomb.
Nailed
on you.
it.
Nailed it.
There we go. Anyway, Colonel Tom Moore has been nominated for the honor of knighthood. And so Queen Elizabeth has approved it, and pretty soon they're going to, kneel him down. So that's good news for
Will
him.
he be able to get back up? I'm just wondering.
He just walked 12
You know.
miles, raised 5,700 tomatoes, and he's going to get down
That's
on
right.
his knees.
So congratulations to Sir Tom. All right.
Yeah, that's good news.
Local good news.
Local.
People doing good. Debbie Robbins is a local State Farm agent right here in around the lake. Yep. All right. So here's the good news.
All right.
She donated $500 worth of gift certificates to local members of the Scruggs Volunteer Fire Department, the Rescue Squad, the dive team, and donated gift certificates to 3 local hair salons.
Debbie Robbins,
Yeah.
way to go. Good news
Thank you
with
for that.
JB.
That's right. One more story. School is wrapping up.
That's good news
School
if you're a
is
student.
wrapping up. In Bedford, the county's last day is next Friday. Franklin, I checked, their last day was the 15th. But today, SMLCA last day.
Did you know
Congratulations.
that SMLCA is having a full-blown graduation July the 3rd?
July 3rd. There you go.
Right here.
There's a lot of stuff happening that weekend.
Lots of stuff happening. You need to
Yeah.
stay tuned.
All right. And now is the moment.
So when we get to 2 million, we're jumping in the lake.
Yeah, it's probably a little warmer now, but I don't know if we'd be allowed to go.
Actually,
Yeah,
the lake
there's no place-
almost jumped into us.
That's right.
We could probably jump off the bridge now.
For the first time in a year, I now have a lake house. Nearly. So,
The lake jumped into us. So anyways, all right, tell us what
recovery numbers,
numbers.
worldwide. 2,097,281.
2,097,281.
That's good news.
That
Keep
is
going,
good
world.
news. Yep.
Keep going, world. And you know what? What was the first recovery number that we ever had?
Oh, it was so
It was
low.
like-
It was like 60,000.
Yeah, it's way.
2,097,000 people have recovered.
Yep.
And guess what? Probably a lot more than that have recovered because a lot more than that had it and didn't know it and they're recovered. So I'm going to go ahead and right now and say the number is 5,458,000.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That
Breaking
is good
news.
news.
Called it.
JB, you're going to be here Sunday with
Yes.
EastLake Live
10:30.
right here at 9:30.
Yep.
With Heidi Bryan,
Yep.
Tanner
Pastor
Holt.
Tanner, yep.
They're going to
Shania
be
Giese.
interacting. Shania Giese. They're going to be engaging you in a
Yes.
virtual foyer. If you don't have a church home or you're not able to get out or you're not getting out yet, tune
Yep.
in right here at 9:30 Sunday morning, and then
Brand
it'll
new
lead us.
segments.
Brand
this
new
Sunday.
segments.
Brand new
Cool
content.
That'll lead us right into the
Yep.
morning worship service at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much.
So do we have a winner?
We do have a winner for
winner.
our giveaway. Yes.
We had our live studio audience pick the winner.
Yes, we did. The live studio audience. We're so
Yeah,
glad
give it
they're
up to
here.
the live studio audience.
Huge.
So we honor the memories of all of those who gave their life, but today we want to also thank those who gave their service to our country. And so today we want to honor Ken Weber, who was a submariner
Weber.
nominated by
Ken.
Sarah Smith. So congratulations, Ken.
Served in a submarine.
He did. He did.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's like solitary confinement for
That's it.
a while.
Way to go, Ken. Thank you,
Appreciate
all
you.
those of you who served.
Yep.
If you did not see the earlier part of this show, you need to go back and watch it. We had Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, the son of Colonel Dick Cole, who was one of the Doolittle Raiders, Raid on Tokyo, the movie, 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, a book, I think. And he was here in person with us in studio and shared that story, some really cool stuff. So, JB, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
See you on Sunday morning. So, Ben, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.
Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.
And
And
then Sunday,
go to
8,
the
10,
app
and
or
12.
eastlake-church.com to sign up. You need to sign up for one of those services. And there's plenty of room for you. Come on.
Yeah, we're excited about this weekend. Listen, this has been, how many weeks have we been doing this? 9 weeks now?
Since, at least.
9 weeks or so of information and inspiration for 30 or 40 minutes to encourage you during this COVID-19. We're coming back. Be strong. Keep believing. Keep trusting in the Lord. Let the Lord do His work in your life so that when we come out of this, we'll be better than ever. Keep looking after your neighbor. Keep doing what is right. We're getting through this. By the grace of God, we're getting through this. Hope to see you on Saturday night or Sunday or online. God bless you. We'll see you this weekend.
Lord God, it's your child once again coming to you. Lord, as a country, we're beginning to open back up, God, and I just want to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you, Lord, for the ministry of social distancing. I hope we keep it, Lord. I don't feel like being social all the time, and I want to keep some people at a distance. They talk too much, Lord. They ask too many questions and make me feel like I'm getting interrogated on the first 48. I feel trapped and I don't know when I can leave the conversation. And God, some of them people's breath lets me know Satan is real, God. I just want to thank you for the mask that you've given us. Some people want to wear them, some people don't. But as for me, God, I'm wearing my mask. I'm wearing my mask to protect me and others from coronavirus, but also to protect me from the halitosis that is coming out of some people's mouth. It sours my stomach, Lord, and perms my nostril hairs. So I thank you for the mask. Then, God, I ask that you give me some guidance. I don't know if I should go back out. I opened the door, Lord, and was hit with these killer bees, Lord God. God, these bees are so big. They look like they should fill out the 2020 census, Lord. They look like they got social security numbers, God. So I think I'm going to just stay in, Lord, and until you bless us with a vaccine, Lord God. And I know hopefully it'll be one here by December, but Lord, if you see fit, for some of these people that don't want to wear masks, just let their breath be the ones that can take out coronavirus. Just let them breathe in the streets, Lord. Amen, amen, amen.